You're doing what is expected of you. So why does life still feel so empty? My dog was not at home this past week. She was actually in hospital, and everything seemed and felt different. The routine was off, the house felt empty, and everything felt just so different. And this made me realize, and this was the inspiration for this live. A lot of our lives are built around something, and we don't even realize it. So I asked last week why you work at this live, and most of you mentioned that it's responsibilities and expectations. That's not purpose. What that actually is, it's pressure. So, welcome to the midweek reboot. I'm Mayan, and I'm really glad that you're here, whether you're joining live or if you're watching this a little later. This is a pause in the middle of the week, and the aim here is to restore stability midweek and allow us to reflect. And our topic today will actually allow for that reflection. You're doing what's expected of you. So, why does life still feel empty? And that's the topic. And I've got some questions that will allow you to reflect on this very topic. I was thinking about purpose, not the fluffy type of purpose. And tonight we're talking about the non fluffy version. Purpose is actually what gives your life shape, it provides meaning to your life, and it has emotional weight. And when it comes to us as professionals, we are living structured lives. But is it meaningful? Now, that's the question. It's very structured. And around what is it structured? So, here's some reflective questions. If your work disappeared for 2 weeks, what will still shape your day? What in your life makes you feel alive? Not just productive, but alive. What's in that one thing in your life that makes you feel alive? And have you ever felt something is missing and suddenly everything felt off? And Yesh says her dog as well. And to some of us, our animals, our children. So, as much as you feel for your child or your parent, then just not having your furry friend around, that can actually change the how your life feels. So, for many of us, work has become the organizer of our lives. It determines our mood. You're in a good mood, a bad mood. On a Sunday, you're not looking forward to going to work. You might have had a stressed day and that changed your mood. Somebody might have really ticked you off and you end up being in an angry mood. So our mood fluctuates based on what we experience in the workplace. Work also shapes our identity. I'm a marketing officer. I'm a chief financial officer. I'm a communications officer. I'm a driver, clerk, a receptionist. I am a sales manager, operations manager. I'm a social media marketing agent. So those titles determine our identity, and it's usually our work identity that defines us. Have you ever stopped to ask, what am I beyond work? And I give you that challenge as well. And you can put it into the chat. Who are you beyond work? Introduce yourself in the chat. Work also provides structure. You wake up in the morning, you do whatever you need to do, then you're off to work. Even if you're in an office or you work from home. Work is usually 8 hours. You might take a break, one or two breaks, and then you're back home. But most of our day is spent at work, and we structure our lives around work. I know with people I work with, the leaders I work with, they'll work the day, they'll go home, attend to their family, and then in the evening, they log back on and continue working. So most of their life is around work, and that creates the structure. Then your worth is also determined by work. If you don't have a job, you have less worth. You feel as if you've got no worth. So, also, those four things, the mood, your identity, the structure, and worth, that's what we structure and organize our lives around. And get this, you can be busy all day, but you can still feel empty because the activity that you're engaged in is not the same as meaning. So, the activity that you're busy with at work does not create meaning in your life, and therefore, there's a sense of emptiness. Kelisha says, I'm a fun loving arts and crafts person, and that gives meaning to your life. And that's great because you must be getting some trade off. You're giving your time to arts and crafts, and that feeds parts of you as well. So thank you for that. Yesh says she doesn't know who she is really. Don't know who I am really. So ask yourself and put that as a thing that you're going to do tonight or in the next day or two. Who am I beyond what I do? So people talk about purpose, and it's something that you do, it's something big, but purpose is not something you find. I think it also leaves clues. The four clues that can define purpose is as follows. What makes the room feel empty when it is missing? And I'd like you to ponder, and this for this live, I'm going slowly as well because I want you to reflect on these questions. What makes the room feel empty when it is missing? What gives your day shape? Is it really your work that gives your day shape? What's that one thing that you look forward to? What restores you? And what would you grieve for if it was not there? So I spoke about my dog. Now, my dog was hospitalized last week, and by her not being at home, it left a big vacuum. The house seemed bigger. My life felt emptier. And as I said, for some people, their furry friends are their kids. And I felt that here's a little animal that doesn't speak, but is larger than life. So, what is it for you that makes that room feel empty, gives your day shape? What do you look forward to in that day? What restores you? And what will make you grieve? And that is an indicator of purpose. And it leaves clues in terms of what's your purpose. And in terms of the chat, have you found your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? And it's not the big thing, I need to change the world. What is the thing that creates purpose in your life, that gives it meaning, that takes away that emptiness? What you can also reflect on: what is your life currently organized around? What is carrying too much meaning in your life right now? If somebody looked at your life, what would they say your purpose is? And what are you faithful to every day? And is it worthy of that? Kalisha says that she's still trying to find her purpose. And here, again, I repeat, it's not this big thing where you're going to change the world. Yes, there's some people that do that. But what I'm bringing across as well, and it's because of my dog falling ill that I thought about this. And whatever I experience, I like to also bring it into the live. Are we just living our lives, or do we live purposeful lives, lives with meaning? And that meaning, that purpose, what is it in your life? If it's not there, you can feel it. For me, it is my dog. What would that be for you? If it's not over there, your life would be empty. Or are you just living your life day by day and just taking it as it comes? So my question to yourself is, are you living a meaningful life or just a managed one? And I love what Veloshni says in the chat. Her purpose is her family. What brings meaning to her life is her family. So if you look at it, if you say, it's my dog, it's my family, it's your kid, then that will take your priority. And you will arrange your life around that and not just work. And that's what I want to bring across. I come across so many professionals. They think about work as soon as they wake up. When they go to bed, they can't really rest because everything is about work. And if you have your life structured around work, how much of that life are you really living? And therefore, I ask the question, are you living a meaningful life, or are you just living a managed one? You go from day to day and you just manage your days. Because the issue as well is time is finite. Time is moving faster than we realize. Before we know it, we're old, our parents are old, your dog gets old, your children get older and they leave the house. So things don't stay the same. So, what are you? structuring your life around. So, really, so to Kalisha, who's still finding her purpose, you don't need to find a big purpose. You need to notice what gives your life life, what gives it that purpose, the meaning. And I'll put forward three simple shifts. If you have any questions as well, please pop it into the chats. I can't promise we'll do a 1 hour live today. It's a shorter one, but I hope these questions will resonate with you, will get you thinking, because I want us, the way I want to do these lives as well is not to have it just for the sake of having it. I want us to reflect on some questions. Think about it. I'll plant seeds so that you can take whatever questions and think about it into the week, because we must live full lives and not just managed ones. So, here are three simple shifts. The first shift: notice what your life is orbiting. Before you chase some grand purpose, first tell the truth about what your life is currently orbiting. And as I told you, the people I work with, a lot of them, their lives orbit around work. Because if everything is orbiting work and pressure, approvals, or you're just surviving from day to day, then that life feels narrow. It feels empty. And then you question, what's this life all about? So it wasn't meant to be deep, but I want it to be a reflective life. So notice where you are giving your energy to. And is it to the right things? When you look at your life towards the end, did you spend time on the right things? So I'll give an example over here. My sister and I both, we share our dog. And when my dog fell ill, what she did was re-looked at how her work is structured. She looked at what she can give away as opposed to doing everything. So that was a way of actually getting more time to give to what really mattered. Then my father fell ill, and my younger brother looked at his work schedule. Next week, there's two public holidays on a Monday and a Friday. So he decided he'll take the 3 days in between to spend more quality time with my dad. And that's important. How can you take back time to give to what matters? The second shift is add one thing that gives meaning. And before we go there, let me look at the chats. Kilisha says, wow, that's a really good question to ask oneself. That's good, Kilisha. And I think the answers to these questions won't just pop up now. And therefore, I'm not asking you to put it into the chats. Let it sit with you, sit with the question, and try to see what actually matters. And then you give time to those things that matter. And if it's work that your life is orbiting, then you need to know that there needs to be a balance. If it's too much work, then what else can you bring into your life? And that's where there's the second shift: add one thing that gives meaning. So don't think about, us humans, we try to be overachievers. So don't think about 10 things that will give meaning, just one thing. if your life feels empty, don't try to invent yourself over the weekend. Just ask, what's one thing that I can put back into my life that gives it more emotional substance? So, for example, a walk, but don't just take a walk. Be intentional, be in that moment. It might be journaling, it might be a prayer, it might be time with a loved one. What's one thing that will give meaning to your life? It might be creativity, nature, being in nature, playing a good song or good music, having meaningful conversations, being fully present in that conversation. How about reading, building something outside of work? So that can be some ideas. So add one thing that gives meaning. And the third shift is stop letting your work carry everything. Your work should not create your identity. And therefore I'm asking the question as well. What are you outside of work? Who are you outside of work? Yes, work matters. Income matters. You've got responsibility, and that also matters. But work should not have to carry your entire identity. Work should not define you. It should not create your entire worth. If you take work out of if you don't link yourself to work, who are you? How do you feel? Do you feel worthless? Or only with your work do you feel as if you've got worth? Ask yourself those questions. And what's your reason for getting up? Just looking if there's any questions. I told you it's going to be a reflective live, right? So here's two more questions for you. What is the one thing you need to make space for again? Where do you need more meaning? Not more efficiency, but more meaning. And going back to my dog, I realized, and there's so many learnings that I take from my dog, that time's limited. Your purpose does not need to be a grand thing. Identify what brings meaning to your life and pour your energy into that. Don't leave it for tomorrow, the next day, the next year, because time's shorter than we think. If you've got any questions, please drop it into the chat, because I've got a short live today. I'd like to leave you with questions that you can think about, that will help you live a more meaningful life, and not just live. As I said, engaging with professionals, I find that we just go through our lives without thinking. I think I did that as well. Now, as I hit 50, I wonder, where did time go to? And did I give enough time to what matters? Or have I been caught up in work that it absorbed most of my energy? So you can't live with regrets. And I'm not the type that will live with regrets, but it can inform how I live tomorrow, the next week, the next month, year, and years to come. So that's what I'm hoping that this live would inspire, this topic, this discussion would inspire. Yes, she says, once you find your purpose, what do you do? That's when you pour energy into it. That's where you, and here again, I say, having a purpose is not a big, grand thing where you're going to change the world. The purpose that I'm talking about is about what brings meaning to your life, what gives your life purpose. And that's where you pour energy into that aspect of your life. And we can live balanced lives. So many of us have been taught to build lives that function, that pay the bills, meet expectations, and we keep going. We must be responsible. We must hold everything together. And yes, those things matter. But a life can be functional and it can still be empty. I'll take a response from the chat. I actually, and this is from Imperial Kimo, I actually live a day to day life, trying to find a purpose, but sometimes we get too used to living a day to day life. I have actually started delegating tasks recently to focus on other aspects in my life. Now, that's really beautiful because what Imperial Kimo is saying is that there was this reflection for you to have started delegating tasks to focus on other aspects of your life. You would have seen that your life is giving to things that's not adding to you. And if you can delegate that, you can take your energy and put it into things that really matter. And I think that's an important point. If we can reflect, identify what's those one or two things we can do, and then utilize that to change our lives. Because I don't want you to come over here and just listen to me. It's not about being entertained, it's about what's that one nugget that you can take away and that can shift things in your life. Because really, as a change manager, I see people just going through the days, and I wish a different life for them, a life that really matters. But you know what? You can wish it, you can guide people, but it's only upon that person making the change that would change their lives. If you're saying you overworked, obviously, if you're saying you overworked, that's not adding meaning. That's not living a meaningful life. You're just busy, but it's still an empty life. And then you think, I've got kids that I need to go to. But as I see it with the people I engage with, they're too tired. So years will go by and you'll be wondering where time went to. Did I spend time on the right things, on the things that really matter? And that's what I want to get across in this live today. And sometimes it means that you've built your life around pressure for so long that you haven't stopped to ask what actually gives your life shape, what gives it meaning, what gives it warmth, and what gives it emotional weight. So that's what I've been thinking about this week. Sometimes when something is missing, it reveals more than when it is present. And maybe that's what purpose really is. Not one perfect answer. It's not one grand title. And it's not one dramatic calling where you're going to save the world, but knowing what gives your life life. And that's the important, and that's the crux of this life. What gives your life life? Knowing what matters, knowing what restores you, knowing what you should not be crowded out by pressure or performance and expectation. And that's the key thing for tonight. Don't just ask yourself what you need to get done. Ask yourself what makes your life feel more alive, what gives you energy, what gives you meaning. Because that question may tell you more about your purpose than anything else. And can you believe we're at the end of the live? I don't see any questions. So thank you for joining me on this live. It's a bit shorter, but take the rest of the time out to think about the questions I asked you. Take one nugget and see how it can shift your life. I wouldn't want you to have regrets in a year, in 5 years' time, in 20 years' time. Think about it now. What gives your life life? So I will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a stunning week further, and always remember you matter. I'll see you for now. Bye.